Transistor comes to us from the creators of Bastion, and that is apparent from the art style and soundtrack down to the camera perspective and combat. While it was not my initial intention to make numerous comparisons between Transistor and Bastion throughout this review, upon the completion of my first playthrough, I realized that trying to avoid these comparisons is unnecessary and unrighteous. Bastion is known for its iconic narrator, whose voice sounds like sweet nectar in your ears throughout the campaign. Transistor presents something similar, with the sole weapon of the game, a sword called the Transistor. You play as Red, a female protagonist whose significant other was slain by the Transistor's original owner. This dead man's soul was then absorbed by the sword, giving him the opportunity to speak with the new wielder, who ends up being Red. The man's communication and exhibitions of affection towards Red do a great job of giving the player some backstory on the current events without littering the early game with cutscenes. Also, as a PS4 player, the controller's light pulses along with the man's voice, just like the weapon does in-game. Gameplay shares some qualities with Bastion, with combat being the main focus and RPG elements sprinkled throughout. However, gameplay is also an area where Transistor shows how unique it is. The player has the ability to freeze time and plan their immediate course of action, being a combination of moving into position and executing the desired tasks. When time resumes, the player sees their plan come to fruition, as Red runs circles around her enemies. When I first saw videos of this gameplay mechanic, it looked like it would break the flow of the combat a bit too much for my liking. However, this unique design choice that I'm sure the entire game was built around ends up being satisfying and much more natural than I expected. While Transistor may just look like a turn-based strategy title, it is more fast-paced and exciting than it looks, making it feel more like a hack-and-slash game. Transistor treats the player to a beautiful story as well. The audio is the strongest point of the game, with a deadly combination of a memorable soundtrack and absolutely phenomenal voice acting. Both do a fine job of storytelling and making the player feel involved and yearn for happiness between the two main characters. As similarities between Transistor and Bastion continuously were made clear to me, I wondered if Supergiant Games had created their own genre. However, I then realized that these were perfect examples of games as art forms that were identifiable by the thumbprint left by the artist making it their own. Transistor is now available on PC and PlayStation 4 for $20. As a game that provides a unique single-player experience while also offering replay value by way of additional challenges to complete and a New Game Plus option, Transistor should be the next downloadable title in your online shopping cart. Transistor gets a 5 out of 5.